in traditional Christianity and Judaism. In 1957, a Gallup poll showed that only 14% of Americans believed religion was, quote, losing its influence on American life. But by the end of the 60s, that figure had skyrocketed. Now 70% feel that religion is no longer meaningful in American society. With us today to discuss some of the reasons for what is happening to religion in this country is Reverend Duncan Littlefair. Dr. Littlefair is 61. He's been an ordained minister for 32 years. The past 28 of those, he's been minister of the non-denominational Fountain Street Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Dr. Littlefair takes a rather unconventional view of what he considers religion, rejecting out of hand anything supernatural. He's a champion of freedom and the rights of those who speak in behalf of unpopular causes. And he's put many of his ideas in this book, which is called The Glory Within You, Modern Man and the Spirit. Doctor, thank you for being with us this morning.
It's delightful to be here.
Thank you. To begin, why don't you tell us briefly what is the glory that you feel is within us?
Oh, I'd like to do that. It's the Spirit. It's our conscious awareness, our recognition of who we are and what we are. You know, I like to describe us as life come to consciousness. This great seething cauldron of matter and energy, and it pops up in various forms, in mountains and trees and birds and flowers and animals of all kinds. Lo, you know, there's man all of a sudden, and he's got the ability to look around and see the rest of the world and to know that he's alive, to know that he's got a consciousness, and he can identify with the earth from which he came. He's aware of the animals. He's aware that he's there seeing them. He's aware of the earth. He's aware of his own mortality. He's aware that he's going back to the earth. And this is the marvelous capacity which we've got to treasure. We just can't lose that conscious awareness, which is the Spirit. But if we lose it, we lose our life.
As you say, while he is conscious of being alive, he's also conscious that eventually he will die. And is that not one of the prime motives for religions over the years and centuries?
Oh, it is, and that's a terribly inadequate and I think a perfectly stupid reason for religion. Religion should be for living. It should be to make your life beautiful, not to waste that time. No, my great mission is don't lose it. Don't lose this opportunity to feel. You get up this morning and it's beautiful, and the daffodils are dancing, phantoms of delight, and sun is shining. You've got a chance to talk to people and to reach out and touch somebody. You've got an awareness that this, as Soroyan says, is the time of your life. And if there were no death, there'd be no life. And because there is death, you make your life something precious and beautiful. You don't wait for a death. You don't wait for something, some other place. This is why religion is so meaningless to people. We're not going to live on that outmoded medieval notion any longer that we're living here temporarily as strangers in order to get to some other heavenly realm. That's ridiculous. And that's
is there a heavenly realm that we're going to, do you think?
Nobody knows of any heavenly realm. It's a pure, fanciful creation. There's no kind of possible evidence to support it. It's a mythological thing that's characteristic of Christianity in the West. The Eastern people don't have any notion of a heaven. They want to merge with life, which is what I say happens when we die. We come from the earth, we go back to the earth.
But some would say, how can it be disproved this side of death?
Well, it can't be disproved, but that's no scientific basis for assertion, you know. There are millions of things that can't be proven. That doesn't mean that it means they possibly exist, but it sure doesn't mean that they exist. And I think on something so important, we shouldn't be risking so much on just wild guesses or childish, fanciful imaginings.
But what you're calling wild guesses, some people take as being biblical prophecy.
Well, biblical prophecy is no evidence of any kind of validity. You know, it's no evidence that something is because it's in the Bible. The Bible was written by primitive people who had no knowledge of the kind of world we live in. You see, this is an Einsteinian world. You know where our religious beliefs and ideas come from? They come from pre-Newtonian. They come from pre-Galileo, Copernicus. They come from the 3rd century or earlier. Now, what do those people know about the world and about how they were put together and the nature of life? They have no knowledge of it.
Some of the great struggles going on in organized religion today are trying to reconcile the two, as you well know. Now, you have you've settled that question for yourself.
I don't think that they're doing very much with it, you know. I think they're covering up the basic problem by these ecumenical movements and all this kind of claptrap. I call it that because it's an evasion from the main task, which is a re-examination and reconsideration of the actual thinking, thought level basis of our religion. We've got to change our presuppositions, our ideas.
Are you dismissing ecumenism as claptrap?
Yeah.
Why don't you say what you mean?
Well, I'm going to try it now. After a while, I'll get there.
All right.
I think it is because it's not the major job. If people are turning away from the church, which they are, and you gave the statistics, they're turning away because they don't have anything to offer. Now, if you merge all those who don't have anything to offer, you still don't have anything to offer. And I think they're trying to cover up with a power play, which is, again, totally contrary to the Spirit. Spirit shouldn't deal in power. It should deal in appreciative understanding, awareness. Why don't we get down to business and do something about our beliefs, you know? Just take this past Easter. How many churches in this country do you suppose were preaching the physical resurrection of Jesus? And
I expect a good many.
I expect a great many. And what an absurd notion that is.
Well, now, you make a distinction there. You say the physical resurrection of Jesus. Does that imply that you have a belief in some other form of resurrection
No,
of Jesus?
I don't have a belief in any form of resurrection.
Do you have a belief in Jesus?
Well, as a person. But again, here's another thing. The idea that you're saved only through Jesus the Christ is a totally provincial Western view, which it's time we got over. The millions and millions of people in the world who find salvation in other ways than that, and he's a leader, he's a savior, he's a lord to many people. But then anyone can be that to another person if they help open up their heart and help them to see the good in the world and to see and appreciate the qualities within themselves, to recognize that there is a glory. You know, there's a glory in this world. It's a beautiful world, and we've got to find it. And the church we've got to put our eyes on that. We've got to come back from the idea of a God out there directing and organizing and planning.
Who is then?
There is no plan. There is no direction in this world of ours. We've got to give it reason. We've got to give it a plan. We have to put some rationality into it. How can anybody look at the terrible things that you people give over this television set every day and think that there's some kind of a divine plan? It's a pretty horrible plan if that's so, and I'd rather not have anything to do with anybody who plans it that way.
The argument is made that there is an order in the universe because it holds together.
Well, sure.
And
logical.
What did that then?
Well, that's the way the universe is. That's the order that is, you know. Another universe would have another order, maybe.
What brought this about? This is one of the mysteries, it seems to me, where religion begins to creep in and offer answers.
This is where philosophically you have to start with a given. We start with the fact that this is the kind of a world that has produced this conscious form of life. So obviously we fit and relate to to life as it is, because it produced us. So do all the other creatures. They relate equally. But to argue back from that somebody must have planned it is really
somebody, something, some force.
No, there's no need for that at all.
No need for that either. Huh?
No need to have any.
You know, I can see why they might call you provocative.
Well, I hope so. You know, I want some action in the church.
I wish we had a good deal more time. Unfortunately, we don't, but we certainly have more than a little sample of the thinking that goes on and how stimulating it can be. The book is called The Glory Within You, and you've been listening to Dr. Duncan E. Littlefair. And we'll be back after this message.
This is Ozite's new Colony Point indoor-outdoor carpet made of Herculon olefin fiber. It's very beautiful and very tough. And to prove it,